and welcome to Doing Great Work with the Literacy Council of Reading-Berks. My name is Ryan Breisch, and I'm the Executive Director of the Literacy Council and the host for today's episode, actually our second video podcast episode. We're continuing along with the discussion of the Myers-Briggs after our last podcast, and we encourage you to go back and watch that one if you haven't done so. We determined that was really the what. What is Myers-Briggs? What are we trying to do at the Literacy Council? Now, today we're answering the question, why? Why are we doing this? Why am I here? But why are we doing this seminar series? And I've asked Diana and Sandy to come back and talk to us about why Myers-Briggs. But before we do that, answering the question why the Literacy Council is doing that, and that is that the Literacy Council serves two audiences. We serve adults who are learning how to read, write, and speak English to make better lives for themselves and for their family members and for members in the community. But the second audience that we serve are area businesses and organizations who have a workforce and they're trying to develop their workforce, and we feel as though we have a role to play in helping to develop the company's employees so that they can be better employees, not only for the company, but also better people all around for their personal lives as well. And one of the things that we are doing is the seminar series, and we thought that a good way to kick off the seminar series would be to do the Myers-Briggs type indicator and have sessions build around the Myers-Briggs type indicator to encourage area businesses to send teams and individuals to come to these sessions so that they can be better employees. And so that I don't have to ramble anymore, I'm going to turn to Sandy and to Diana and ask you to talk about Myers-Briggs in terms of what it is from the standpoint of personalities. What does it mean when we say personality type? What is a type? Okay.
I think just some basic information everyone should want to understand about Myers-Briggs is we use the acronym MBTI, and then we also use some other letters, and it becomes kind of convoluted. And so
Alphabet soup.
Yes, and so there's just some basic language that we'd like to talk to you about. And one of them is first and foremost about how you get your energy. And your energy in the world comes either introversion or extroversion. And so we first spend some time just talking about, are you an introvert or are you an extrovert? And we clarify right up front, introverts aren't necessarily shy. And quiet. This is about how you get your energy. And you tend to want to be more out with people and out in the extroverted world, or do you tend to need time to reflect in your own self and quiet time to get your best ideas? So we use the language right away with E and I. Maybe, Sandy, you want to build off of that? Yeah.
Right. And the second domain we look at is sensing and intuition. And this is really about how we prefer to perceive the world. Those with a preference for sensing tend to be those that think in an ordered sequential. They perceive through their five senses. Whereas those with introversion, a preference for introversion, like to look at the world in terms of possibility and what is the big picture and imagination. Again, no right or wrong, and we all have both, but typically you have a preference, a default. Want to talk about thinking and feeling?
Yes, so once you know these two things about your energy and your way in which you are in the world, we have to do something with that. And so we have to make decisions. And how we make decisions comes around our thinking function or our feeling function. And it gets confusing in Myers-Briggs because we use the word feeling, and I wish they wouldn't have used that actual word, because it's not about being emotional.
It's not about affect.
We're all emotional beings, but thinking is very objective and feeling is more subjective, more about your own values. And So when you begin to understand both are necessary, but which one do you prefer, that helps us, again, in all of our decision making as an employee or the employer. And last but not least,
judging and perceiving. And these aren't preferences in the same way that the others are. These are really about what you prefer to show to the world. Some of us lead with our intuition, some of us lead with our thinking, some of us lead with other things. So those who are judging doesn't mean you're judgmental. It simply means that you like closure. You like to lead with your thinking or your feeling, whatever that preference is for you.
You like how your decisions
You
are
do.
made.
You like to make decisions.
Or you don't.
Right.
And so often when people just even understand that aspect,
Right.
like if we or someone, all three of us sitting at this table are people that like decisions to be made. And then we have closure and can make a plan.
Right.
But more than half the population is just the exact opposite.
I know. I know.
I know.
And we often marry our exact opposite to
I know.
understand that both ways are necessary. But just as much as we have peace when a decision is made and a plan can be built from that, people that have a perceiving function
Don't like to be put in a box. They want more data.
Okay.
and they don't want the decision made because it actually causes
Limits them. Causes anxiety.
Exactly. And the anxiety of what we have when we don't have one made.
Yes.
And so there's, just some common examples. But when you take the MBTI and use it and apply it into the workplace, one of the examples that comes up for me right away, having worked with Sandy for many years, and I was Director of Human Resources for more than 15 years of my life, I never used the MBTI as an interviewing tool, but it helped me understand myself and who I was interviewing, because we have a tendency just to want to hire our light
People
type
like us.
Exactly.
because we're comfortable with our type, and then there doesn't have to be any change. And really what we should be doing is really looking at the job that needs to be done and what kind of preferences are we going to need in getting that job done.
Well, even more than that, if you're a leader, if you hire someone like yourself, you've doubled your strength, but you've also doubled your vulnerabilities.
True.
So
That's a good point.
It's a really important point for leaders that you have to always be aware of what you're not good at,
Right.
as well as what you are good at. And you want to surround yourself with folks that add that diversity and bring those strengths to the workplace.
And when you begin to use like the MBTI and understand we just have different preferences, and by bringing the whole array of those preferences to a team, what a fabulous team you have, and the teamwork and the results that you can get because you're so much better in that full richness of preference. Where if we don't have it and don't have this understanding, then we begin to judge it. We begin to say, you're right, I'm wrong, or you're wrong, I'm right. And it becomes that very limiting
Well, you can
piece of,
confuse preference with performance.
Good point.
And leaders get into this all the time. We have
Yeah.
someone whose preference is different. We think they're not performing, and they may or may not be.
Right.
But you have to tease those apart if you're going to be effective as a leader, if you want to get the best out of your talent.
yeah.
And we're going to talk about all of this over the course of the 4 sessions,
are.
September, November, January, March. Feel free to give the Literacy Council a call, 610-670-9960, and we'll get you registered. You or a team of people from your business, we'd be very happy to see.
Teams are great.
And then you can
Teams are
work,
great.
you can see how you complement each other.
Well, and you can talk about where you come into conflict and where you
Exactly.
get along great.
If anything, we want you to bring real examples of real life situations that we can help you work through and have time to practice and actually see the benefit of trying this on, so to speak.
Yeah,
We're looking forward to it.
we
Yeah,
are too.
great.
Thanks again for
You're
joining us
Thank
today.
you for having us.
You're
Thank you, and thank you for joining us today. Again, 610-670-9960. We look forward to seeing you on September the 9th for the first level of MBTI training. For now, I'm Ryan Breisch with the Literacy Council of Reading-Berks and doing great work, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.